interested friends, especially for Mr. Yuan. My name's Dellwyn Malim, and in this video, I'm going to tell you about the solar system, universe, planets, Earth, and all that kind of stuff. So, the theme, like you know it, is how the world works. The topic is the Earth and its surrounding space. The central idea is the Earth and its atmosphere are surrounded by space and are part of a vast and complex universe. So, I'm from the Primary Sexual Responsibility and from Sekolah Tunas Bangsa, Kubu Raya. So, this is only for the introduction part. To be continued. So now I'm going to tell you about facts about some stars in the galaxy. So here we have the picture of Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to Earth, which is a red dwarf, a small low-mass star around 4.25 light years from the Sun in the constellation of Centaurus. Then here we have the farthest star from Earth, which is Deneb, located in the constellation of Cygnus, and it's around 1,550 light years away from Earth. That's far. So here we have the comparison of Uy Scuti and the Sun. We are as small as a bacteria in there. So the Uy Scuti is a bright red supergiant. It is absolutely a candidate for the largest known star by radius, and it's also one of the most luminous of its kind. It's approximately 2.9 kiloparsecs from Earth, and that's far again. So, this is the picture of the Milky Way galaxy. It's where we live. It's also the place for the solar system, where the planets like Venus, Mercury, Mars, Earth, you name it. And you see that little spot there is the Sun. And that shows galaxies are big. And with that, scientists has counted there are more than 200 billions of galaxies. And that's because the universe is limitless. The solar system is the place where there's our Sun and other planets, including the Earth, orbiting around the Sun. And the solar system has 8 planets. So, with that, I'm going to show you the order of the planets in the solar system. Now I know you guys, especially Mr. Yuan as well, knew the orders of the planet from the Sun. But since this is an assessment, so I got to show it. Here it is. So this is our solar system. The Sun in the left, and moving to the right is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Sorry Pluto, you're not a planet. Bye-bye. So Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system because it has thick carbon dioxide clouds, so the heat is trapped. Earth, home. No other or better place. So the Earth has layers, what we call atmosphere, which protects us from dangerous ultraviolet rays from the Sun. So here are the layers of the atmosphere on Earth. Troposphere is the where the climates and weather form, and it is the biggest layer of atmosphere. The stratosphere, or also known as the ozone layer, which is blanket protecting the Earth from the ultraviolet rays from the Sun, mostly. Mesosphere, where comets and meteors could be seen. Thermosphere is where the northern or southern lights form. Exosphere, and there you can see satellites, including the International Space Station. And now, to continue to the other planets. Now, heading to Mars, the rust-colored red planet
with an ice cap on it. Well, I don't know if, but there are rumors if Martians live there. Jupiter. Oh, that's one big planet. Especially for the big eye. And in fact, it's the biggest planet in the solar system. Wow. So here we have North America comparing with the big red spot. Wow, I even could not imagine what is our size in that comparison. Maybe we're just a small bacteria, but in fact, USA definitely smaller than the big red spot. Where was I? Ah yes, Uranus, one of the gas giants, but strangely with a vertical ring. I know, discovered by William Herschel in the 18th century. That's a long time ago. So Neptune, one of the coldest and actually the coldest planet in the solar system. And it is at the edge. And they also say that there's another second red spot, which is Red Spot Junior. October 4, 1957, the space race has begun, where space travel is going to develop. Russians win the first round by this thing, the Sputnik 1, the first satellite launched by the Russians, plus the first satellite that was launched into the space. Its shape is kind of weird. It has 4 antennas and its shape is like a sphere. I don't know what the components are, but it's an obvious if Russians won the first. 1958, on the 31st January, Explorer 1 was launched. It was the Americans' first satellite to retaliate Soviet Sputnik 1 and launched by the Army Ballistic Missile Agency, or ABMA, under the direction of the German scientist Dr. Werner von Braun. He's the one who created the V2 rockets, of some of you ever heard. 8 years later, after tons of space launches, which include the launching of the first man to space, cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin in his spacecraft, the Vostok 1, and both came from Russia, and American astronaut John Glenn, which became the first person from United States of America to orbit in space, and his spacecraft, the Friendship 7. Then he went to space again as the oldest man in space in the space shuttle Discovery. Then Valentina Nikolaeva Tereshkova became the first woman in space. Then comes the big bombshell for the Soviet Union, I guess. This, the Saturn V rocket, the largest rocket ever built. It is going to be built to launch the spacecraft for the Apollo missions to land on the moon. But only 6 Apollo missions that landed on the moon. Apollo 1 until 10 and Apollo 13 didn't land on the moon. But for Apollo 11, it is history. Incredible history that will shock everyone on the world. So here are the Apollo 11 crew members. From the left is Neil Armstrong, the first man to be on the moon, Michael Collins, the pilot of the command module, and Buzz Aldrin, the third person on the moon. So this is one of the most iconic pictures of Neil Armstrong in the moon. This picture was photographed by Buzz Aldrin, the second person on the moon, while the other person, Michael Collins, stayed in the other spacecraft orbiting the moon by himself. And there are some words that Neil Armstrong said when he first stepped his foot on the moon. And it's one of the most memorable things that the world could have ever heard. It sounds look like this, but I don't know why it's scrambled for the voice, okay?
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
12 years later, after the first craft to orbit another world, Mars, the Mariner 9 probe, the Skylab launch, which is the first space station the U.S. launched, and the American Apollo 18 and Soviet Soyuz 19 that in the Apollo Soyuz test project passed. Then comes a huge breakthrough for space discovery. This is a space shuttle Columbia to be exactly, launched in April 12, 1981. Oh my God, that's 25 years ago. That's old. And again, the first space shuttle to be launched. And of course, by the USA. This is the Russian space shuttle. Well, of course, not that big plane with 3 engines. Well, actually, that's 6, because that's the largest plane in the world. The one that is carried on the top, that's the Russian space shuttle. Russians call it Buran, but unfortunately, well, of course, you still can see it, but it's actually destroyed when its hangar collapsed. Well, sorry, but well, that's a nice one, you know, and quite nicer than the Americans one, if I say. Well then, this is the Denis Tito became the first tourist in space after paying the Russian space program $20 million. That's a lot, and that's only for going to space. And that shows if you want to go to space, you gotta have a lot of money to go to the International Space Station, and he has lots of days training. Wow. And why would an American join a Russian space program? Because he is a space tourist. That's a thing. So this is the Hubble Space Telescope. It is a space telescope that was launched in 1990 and remains in operation. Even though it's not the first, it's one of the largest and most versatile space telescopes. It is named after astronomer Dellwyn Hubble. Then he is Valery Polyakov, a cosmonaut, because he's from Russia, holds the record for the longest man in space for an astonishing 438 days aboard the Mir space station. So the first living being in space was a dog called Laika in the Sputnik 2 spacecraft. Here is shown the model. So with that, after all of these explanations, thank you for your attention to watching this video.